Well, because all right, so we recorded. So the thing is I didn't have a name for this. I didn't know if it was going to be an episode of the Black Wrestling Podcast Club. I didn't know if we was going to give it, a whole other title, something else entirely. But I know Drip's been working. Or have y'all seen? Has been this idea that Drip had for the Black Wrestling Patreon, patreon.com/Black Wrestling. If you see this, you should be tuned in there. Um, 2 seconds before I hit record, Drip says, "Yo, is this an episode of Have Y'all Seen?" I mean, is it an episode of Have Y'all Seen? It may be. Did you have an idea for Have Y'all Seen, Drip, or are we just gonna make this on the fly?
No, I said I think the idea would be we review a movie, season of a TV show, old or new, and just be like, have y'all seen? We just review it. I mean, Fam and I and Mimi watch Mayans. We can potentially do Mayan season 4. Have y'all seen?
Have you all seen? Because I have not seen.
Yeah, or I mean, again, we all saw Doctor Strange here. We could have done a Have y'all seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness?
It didn't happen. But we're not talking about what didn't happen.
But that's the thing. That's
Hey,
the vibe.
Davis, are them glasses real?
No.
Are them glasses real, Davis? You just think they're
not.
cute?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Delay?
I think there's a delay on you, fam.
Fair enough.
No, we here to talk. Oh gosh. Well, first off, before we get into, I think, our thoughts on season 3 of FX's Atlanta, which just finished last week. If you're watching this and you've not finished season 3 of Atlanta, stop watching this right now. Finish that because we about to spoil. We talking about this like we seen this shit.
All right, we get into piss and hands real quick, okay? So y'all niggas, but look, it's.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I was looking for images. I was looking for images to throw up with, as we talk about this show. And some of the best episodes or some of the best images FX doesn't throw, like the shot of Homegirl's reflection in the window as she's just sitting there and pissing a whole bottle of Crown Royal, I guess, on this dude's face.
I thought it was his...
2 Powerades at lunch.
Yeah. I didn't think it was his face. I thought it was more like his chest.
You think she was pissing on his pissy?
No, I'm assuming it was full face. He laid like these.
But it could have been like cascading down. I mean, are we really gonna? Yeah. Is he stone cold? Like,
yeah, you wanted that shower. You wanted that fuck. I mean, if you gonna pay, however many figures it has somebody piss on you.
So you know what? Should I say this? Yes or no?
Yes, say it. Yes.
I had recently talked to someone about peeing on someone.
What?
And like, that's probably one of the grossest things someone can ask you to do. Like,
what?
If someone asks me to do that to them, that's its tag team partner.
You do.
Was this your face, Drip? Were you like, ew?
And then as I'm talking to this person, I'm watching the episode and I'm like, look what I'm seeing. Like a day after just talking about this, I'm like, yeah, no. What did Chappelle say as a Black Bush? That shit is gross.
That shit is gross. This is Drip. They're telling the whole story. Drip is just like, what the fuck? And then it gets to the end. He's just like, pew.
Hey, yo, where do I know that dude from?
Treasure or The Hangover?
The Hangover, maybe. He was the dude that got tied up, and he was always the dude that got taken away in the Hangover movie.
Yeah. Where's Doug? I am Doug. Funny. We had a white Doug. When it's Mike Epps.
White Doug. Hey, yo, I have a really dark story that you just reminded me of. So, and I'll keep it kind of short because it's really, really messed up. But like the concept of a black Doug and a white Doug is not foreign to me, as my high school group that we hung out with. They white Doug and a black Doug, and white Doug ended up killing black Doug.
What?
Sorry.
Is this an episode of Atlanta?
I said it was gonna be. I warned you.
But wait, no, because that could literally be that could be
Yeah.
season 4 of Atlanta. I
That's
mean,
what I'm
still in
saying.
jail.
Yeah,
he's still locked. Maybe they took his story.
there can only be one.
Well, the thing was, I remember there can only be one. Is crazy. I remembered early into season 3.
Like a fan is on delay because he heard that.
It's funny because he's on delay, so he had to laugh. It was like the Good Times cover. It was just like. But when they mentioned that the white dude's name was Ernest, I forget which one they called it.
See, and that's
Like,
the same shit. Basically, yeah, they're teasing that.
I said, oh, and I didn't know what we were. Shouts out to my homie Frazier. If you guys didn't check out, maybe I'll put the description. I'll put a link in the description below. He had a dope conversation with Stephen Glover about season 3 in its entirety, a little bit about season 4, but what all the work that went into season 3. And it's interesting. I wasn't. He watched the episode before me. He was like, "Yo, stay for the credits. Stay for the after credits." And I was like, "Oh shit, really?" And I'm like, what are we about to get? And the fucking what Fraser called it, the slow pan, the shining pan into the image of Ern with the. But I guess the question is, all right, like I'm gonna get a little meta for a second. Like Us, right?
Yep.
The idea that they're tethered, but I'm assuming their tether was like literally right underneath them, right? They're acting out everything they're doing in their life.
That was the whole problem with that movie to me, was like, how were the tethers created? And again, like if they went all over the world, how do they just follow under the? Again, it opens up with all across the U.S. are these hidden tunnels,
right?
That no one knows where they are and where they go. So it's like, oh, at least that can explain how
But
they can just follow you throughout your life if you're here at one moment, there the next.
But my question is, like, that dude Ernest was clear. Like that episode, the episode where we saw him when fucking what's the name when Doug from Hangover saw him fucking blow his brains out and land in the pool. That was in Atlanta, right? Like they were in Georgia.
I can't kind of remember if that was supposed to be set. Let's remember, like the ones that are the non main cast.
What they call them step out episodes because they're stepping out of the story. Is how Stephen Glover meant.
The one with Bash is set in New York when he's Trinity to the bone.
I think that might be the only one that was not set in Georgia though.
Yeah,
the reparations one was in Georgia. The rich wigger, poor wigger with R.I.P. Kevin Samuels being in the episode. Literally, they dropped the preview of the episode literally the day he passed away. I believe that one was in. I'd have to go back, but either way, how the hell did the white Ernest his luggage get crossed to wherever? Because I'm assuming was Ern in Georgia or was he still in fucking Belgium or whatever, Amsterdam or whatever the hell they were at the end.
Oh no, they was back home. I think they was back.
That was home.
Yeah, because it's in like an American bellhop.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So is it? So I guess I'd say all this to say, is Atlanta a multiverse? What are they trying to say with that last shot of this dead man? Y'all had the white version, the white man with your name. Here's your luggage.
I think so. I mean, this season more so than ever was like they fully went like Twilight Zone with it.
Very much so.
A podcast I used to listen to, they would always talk about like how Donald Glover's initial vision for the show was Twin Peaks meets rap music.
Yeah.
And FX didn't sell it as that in the beginning. It was just like Atlanta. And then that's why they prefaced like second season as like Robin season. In the course of that theme running through the entire
Right.
season. In this, it was just like Atlanta and Europe, but also like these stories that they probably wanted to tell as well and just felt like they could, because the show can be whatever it wants, is what I think what we've all said that we've liked about it, is that 1 week, as even though I do prefer the main cast episodes, these solo stories are just as intriguing and entertaining, some more than others, but still.
I'll say they aren't, because you don't have the initial connection. As soon as you see Paperboy on screen, you're connected.
Yeah,
you have to be brought into the story with all these non sequitur episodes where you like, what is he doing here? Does that nigga got a flamethrower? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a
whole flamethrower.
Oh yeah, it's super delayed.
That flamethrower bit was. I kind of thought that whole episode was funny, even though it's like really dark. But
that was a good episode.
I just thought it was hilarious again from his dad shit talking to him like, you might have all your white friends confused, and then
that shit was weird.
Yeah. Then when Kevin Samuel shows up and he's like, I'm going to give all the black students free college tuition, and then like they have to prove they're black. I was like, this is kind of dark, but also like
the ambiguously racial guys practicing what was the fucking song? Ooh,
the one guy is like, can you do a wave check for me? And it was like, I don't think he was black at all.
Can you wave check me? Nah, that shit was funny.
Yo,
and when he was like, what goes with Hennessy? He's like, ice. I'm like, okay, rum. Like,
the motherfucker said rum.
Rum. You might be on something. Let me check that.
Rum and Hennessy.
And then he was like, mango. Oh, now you just saying shit. Like, all right, let me. And then like they do like a speed round where he just like says random phrases. And it's like,
Name six things that go with Hennessy. It's a good like how black the fucking Were you familiar with the other guy the guy was sitting
George
to
Wallace,
the
right?
With George Wallace, yeah.
I thought I've heard him. I think I might have watched the Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee that he had done.
I've
a big influence on Seinfeld, if I'm not mistaken.
I was gonna say I've seen him do stand up for forever. And seeing George Wallace screaming,
"You are white!" Like,
he is white.
I was like, oh my god! I'm like, this is so like, this is a dark subject matter, but I found it hilarious because then he goes to like, sit down. So he's like, no, he is white.
Like, no, I feel like they purpose like it looks like, oh, it's black and white because it's supposed to be RT. No. They were trying to hide this nigga's ambiguously racial face. Like,
yes, they were like me.
They did a good job though, because the reveal at the end with the because he kept fucking brushing his hair and shit. Like that was a whole nigga in that Best Buy. Like you and
so did a year of him doing time, did that turn him black? Is that a comment on like what the system does to you?
Like, I think part of it was he probably had to survive in jail.
So he chose a side, obviously, yeah.
Got it, you.
That nigga ain't going to jail. He did like baby jail, and they came home and had to work retail. And yeah, I worked with the retail niggas before, and it changed your life. Retail is a whole like lifestyle. Like
you learn a lot.
Everybody parties afterwards at the flop. Niggas still be having their goddamn Circus City shirts on. And
yes.
Listen, I lived that life. You know what I mean?
It had the funniest line ever, which when he's like, I've never been more attracted to you in my life. Because like and she looks at it, and then he does the obvious like wink to the camera, like get it? Like,
but I'm gonna say this clip right here,
Mexican got on boots.
The Mexican got on boots. The most important thing about the Mexican got on boots story is when you in jail, you got to stay with your own.
Yeah. He
didn't know why Mexicans had on boots meant they about to stab some black people, but he knew he had to go chill with the black people, get them a knife like that. That's it. It is what it is, and I think when you talk about how race is broken down, even outside of the European stuff, if we still stick with the anthology type episodes,
well, the reparations one had the second best line when his wife was like, "I'm." What'd she say? Ecuadorian? He's like, "You were white yesterday."
You were white yesterday was a good line. Like, that was a very good line.
The Peruvian, she was like, I just found like you can find out your ancestry. Like the woman was like 60% Jewish, and then she's like she's basically like doing a Tiger Woods fist bump. Like, yeah.
I'm saying, I guess coming up Jewish in that is like hitting the lottery. Like, there's no way you're gonna have to pay. You know,
the guy with the T-shirt again. It's like I thought he got off light with that. Yeah.
On Sundays he had that. What I forget what the shirt said. Fuck.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. But it was like there was. See, this whole show again is hilarious. There were some times I did think the finale. I think it bookended well with like this is hilarious, but also like super dark in terms of, like
the finale. Like, whoa. This little Zazie Beetz on like a murderous rampage throughout the streets of Europe.
Her being like a young Claire Huxtable right there.
Well, I get there was a film. There was a specific look that they were going for with her character.
Amelie,
yeah, they mentioned it.
And but
they were serving hands, and she was sprinkling meth on them. Like,
no, but wait, even before we get to the hands, I will say this because Zazzy's good.
Yes.
Van was doing a lot of wild shit, but we didn't get to, and we still really don't like. There's not a. Do we feel we have a firm grasp of how she went from? Like, what was it? Is it something mental? Was there something specific? Yeah. Like, but is it so? This is just a mental break. This isn't like.
Yes. Yeah. I think they gave it to us. Like, remember, she got off the plane. It wasn't no She had no luggage or nothing.
Nothing. Like, she just showed up.
I think she just was like.
What? No. Well, because when they said, "Where's your daughter at?" I was hoping that something hadn't happened to Lottie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those could be situations that can start.
We're in Europe. It's like, how are they going to explain both of them being parents and not
exactly?
They're not going to go full like again like this is a multiverse for like they're somehow in Europe. They're clearly not together, but they did have that great episode where when she had been called out for stealing something. And then Ern defends her, and then the guy's like, "Oh, do you have a room?" He's like, "You better give me a room." And I think I asked this to you, Kara. It had been in the group as well, but I'm like, the whole time you're kind of wondering why what she sees in Ern because she saw Beats. Nothing against Don Glover, but like the character Ern is supposed to be like the ultimate fuck up. Like he's too smart, but he's a loser at the end of the day.
He was sleeping. He was sleeping in a fucking storage facility, like you know, something was going on.
And it seemed like he had a free ride to Georgetown, right? And he messed that. Like he came back
Princeton.
He's selling shit at the airport.
Young women are really good at seeing potential and falling in love with potential. You know what I'm saying? Older women, like grown women, they don't mess. That potential stuff is cool. Oh, you stupid, huh? I'm gonna get what I'm gonna get from you, and I'm gonna move on. I mean, I don't, you know.
But they kind of answered that at the end of season 2 when she's like, the reason Lottie's so smart, like the teacher said, is because of you. I think she gets that from you. And then you see like why she falls from him, like the charm. It's like he charms his way to getting a free room, and so he must have been that guy.
He's very good. He's very good at that.
That's why he's a manager.
But that's the thing. It's like he's. It's almost like everything about him makes him perfect for that job. And I think the interesting thing to see is like at the end of season 2, not talking about the finale, but if you look at like maybe when did it really start? Whatever the Yoo-Hoo episode where Clark County was like, "I'm about to fuck you up, Mr. White Engineer, for fucking up the track." Like I think from then on, Alfred was really testing, like, is Ern good for me as a manager? Because he always wanted a certain type. And by the end of season 2, I think Ern, we learned why Alfred might have been like this man's a little fugazi, but we also learned why Earn could prove it. It was dope to see because at the time jump was like a year and change. Seeing
they're
Earn
back
is
in Europe because they're like, "Have you been to Amsterdam before?" He's like, "Yeah, on our last tour."
he's
the headliner this time before he was a supporting actor.
Exactly. And Earn is the fucking machine. He's to the point where it's like, bet I know how I'm getting all of this done is nothing. Let me make sure I get my little 5Gs or whatever.
Nah, he finesses the guy, and when he's like, "Yeah, we're not gonna do the show," the guy's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
He's good at that job. He knows what Alfred wouldn't be where he is right now if it wasn't for Earn, but it took Earn a bit to prove to Alfred that he was able to be that guy.
Yeah.
It was always there though. Christ. Now where does this season, because again we talk about he answered the question before I asked it. So out of 3 seasons of Atlanta, Fam is saying that season 3 of Atlanta is number 3 if we're ranking the top 3.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. It's not as funny, right?
It's not as funny. It's not as funny.
I love that it's artsy and the Afro surrealism. I love it. You know what I'm saying? I love that I kind of need an Eric Boss type of breakdown after I watch each episode. But at the same time, that wasn't on the bill of goods I was sold. You know what I'm saying? And so but they kept telling you what they were going to do. When you give us episodes like the joint with a dude was transracial. When you get things,
that's the whole public access show in general. They have the prices on the can and the
yes.
he loves that Dodge
BAN, yeah, it's a very good episode.
When they give us the invisible car and Michael Vick racing niggas in the parking lot, like, listen, they tell you, yes, this could happen. And then they sneak in invisible car. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, this is Atlanta. But then they give you episodes like when he was in the woods, which is a direct line can be drawn from the episode where Paperboy was lost in the woods to Paperboy was high off of whatever Darius had gave him in that shop.
That cookie.
It was geriatric bacon grease. Like, they had him on something wild. Like, he was just.
I think it had its moments of comedy sprinkled throughout because, like I said, like the first season with Black Justin Bieber, which again that was the ultimate commentary of anything, which was like hilarious. Like, no, I got Bieber when he's like tired of him in the pickup.
Right.
And we're just like, leave him alone. He's just a kid. It's the commentary like this kid's wilding out, but because he's white, he's able to get away with it with anyone else. But then that comes to like Trini to the bone when this kid is being raised by a Trinidadian woman, and he has all like
that's drip.
Too bland.
That's drip and Big Mike right there.
I'm surprised no one said like this because you know me heart when the girl.
So
you know me heart.
So from what I understand is there were some very deep Trini cuts in that episode. Like if you grew up Trinidadian, like you really knew like. Yo,
songs and everything, yeah.
Them 2 songs, like that's whoever sings that song is like, if you're from Trinidad, that's that shit Michael Jackson, my nigga. That shit, you know what I mean? Like that, he is their guy. And then like the what's it, the light pepper or whatever that sauce they had.
The food that he wants.
Yo, they say, look, you go and add and order light pepper, it's still gonna choke you out when you go over there.
Because the dad's like,
oh my gosh.
Big Mike couldn't handle that shit.
It had the Chet Hanks, which I see. So I never watched this show live because we record Thursdays. I see Bam live tweeted basically the next day. So I'd see stuff like Chet Hanks or Liam Neeson. I'm like, what happened? So I see like Chet Hanks shows up and they're like, your accent's really strong. He's like, are you from Trinidad and Jamaica? He's like, it's Trinidad and Tobago. So I'm from Tribeca.
That motherfucker said Tribeca.
That's amazing.
And it was an amazing, like, Oh, that's what our son's gonna be like.
But
this woman was basically raising him.
But that's the one. That's one of the
commentary
things
on that as well. Like parents that use nannies to basically raise their kids.
But it's one of the things that they do very well. This season, I think, aside from Cat Williams winning the whole Emmy for his amazing performance,
I did watch that episode the other day. It's so good.
Alligator Man is such a phenomenal. The little girl being like. Cause remember the cop was a former NXT or WWE dude, right? Kirby and the look, yeah, that's the Alligator Man. He ain't lying, that's the Alligator Man.
Yeah, Cardi was like, is alligator in there? She was like, nigga, yeah.
Them children ain't lying to you. Nah, but
I watched season 1 multiple times. I didn't rewatch season 2 going in. And I think I only watched them maybe once or twice through. Whereas I rewatched season 1 a lot after like it ended and like getting prepared for season 2.
Let me keep it.
But going into season 3, and I haven't rewatched any of these episodes. Not that they aren't rewatched, but like kind of what fans like because since they weren't as funny as the season 1 stuff, I didn't want to get back and like, oh yeah, this is dark, and I know what good moments are coming up, like him playing cards with the guys, and then like. You know, ghost come on you, like, and then the guy gets pissed and leaves. Like, wait, so he's coming back with the money, right?
So it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. There's two things there, that almost draw parallel from this season to the Kendrick Lamar album that just came out. Is that the heavy stuff, the stuff that you have to deal with, the thinking, it makes these tougher on a rewatch. Unless
it outweighs like this shit is what I want, what I need.
Right, but it's the only other reason why you're rewatching this is what did I miss? And like there's a part in the Kevin Samuels episode where early on he's scrolling the timeline and someone has a flamethrower on there. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's like on Instagram. When he
playing the game too,
this girl talking to the black dude or whatever, it's somebody with a flamethrower on it. It's like it's stuff you'll catch going back. But as far as entertainment wise, it's not as fun to watch as the first 2 seasons. And then I remember the first episode, second episode, I believe, is the jail joint, right?
Yes.
Him
living the life in Swedish jail.
Them using. And it's the other thing that made me think of the Kendrick album is in that episode, because I watched it the other day, them using the F word, is when Kendrick uses it's like, okay, they're saying, we can use it in this context, but it's going to come back. You ain't going to like how things, you know what I'm saying? It's going to put you in an awkward form either way. I think it's very good that way, and I like the season, and I'm not calling this the worst season of the 3 isn't calling it a bad season.
Right.
It's not as good in context of all 3 seasons.
Well, and I again, it's the same thing with Curb Your Enthusiasm. You know, like we can rank the seasons, but you know what's the last season being a B- compared to the first season being an A+. Like at the end of the day, we're battling.
I think the storytelling of this season probably was the strongest. Like they wanted to tell these stories these ways, like again it actually ended up connecting throughout in terms of like Earn at the beginning on the boat, that Earn, and then his bag showing up, and then the filmmaking of the series as a whole, Hiro Murai, Donald Glover himself.
Well, don't forget Donald Glover directed like the last 3 or 4 episodes, and
he directed most of the series.
Him and
Hiro Murai, and then there were a few in between. But again, like I think in the fact that they got to be in Europe and all the architecture there and the lighting they could do with the like. Again, this house on the outside, like this is where we're supposed to be at. So you take all these stairs to this one place, and there's this whole like hidden world where this rich guy lives, and he's got Nando's and
or like shit scenes like this because they use a lot of stuff from this episode in the lead up and seeing. I love him in this shirt, but I think the way that everything was stylized, especially if you go through some of those early trailers, like the weird awkwardness of what Europe is supposed to be, especially if you're a black dude from Atlanta.
Which they kind of tease in Helen when they have the Oktoberfest episode.
Well,
and Earn's kind of uncomfortable there the whole time, even though like this is still America, right? Like no pun intended with the Donald Glover, but like.
So here's the thing, and here's the caveat to me calling this 3rd best season. is what's going to end up happening in the long run is we're going to see how many callbacks and how many tie-ins to
There's so many there.
The stuff that they already did, that we're going to realize that this is great, but we had to watch it. We had to watch the drawings being drawn, right? We see the line, so we don't know, what is it going to be? And it's like you sitting there watching it, and then at the end of it, it's a tree, and you're like, oh, it was a tree. It's a cool looking tree, but it was a tree. But then when you realize that they drew it with the same lines that they had in episode 1 of season 2,
or like you turn the tree upside down, and it's another type of tree or something like that. Yeah,
I'm thinking of lines now, like when Paperboy's mad that they took his commercial, and the guy talks him down. He's like, "Listen, come with me to the Black Panther premiere. It has Lorenz Tate, and then he's like, "Lorenz Tate's in it," like,
yeah,
which is almost like.
But it's
I think the best singer is Brandon T. Jackson. Who the fuck is Brandon T. Jackson? You know Brandon T. Jackson. Like, 2 great lines this year are callbacks to like black actors that we may or may not know. But I think a lot of people know, like,
I know
Lorenz Tate. Yeah, like
they
kind of like Lorenz Tate's a silly point. Like, wait, he's like, wait a minute, Lorenz Tate's in it. Like,
did people? Because it's only Atlanta's a show that I rewatch, like, fairly often. And because I watched some of the episodes early and we record when the show was on, I'm not on the timeline like I used to be when it used to be on. I don't know if people, like they did a whole episode on Darius being Nigerian with the rice dish.
Yeah.
He mentions
that was
that
the most upsetting thing of the season.
Jollof rice.
He mentioned the shop and starting the truck.
In the piece that I wrote about the 8th episode of every season of Atlanta, there's a random reference of him just being, there was like a random brief conversation in the episode of them in the club in season 1 where I think Paperboy made a comment about the promoter being Nigerian on some negative shit, and Ern was like, wait, Darius is Nigerian, and Alfred didn't realize it, and then they didn't talk about that shit for forever, and then in season 3 they have a whole half an episode dedicated to some European people trying to like it's shit like that I almost wish people would rewatch it, because there's a lot of beauty in the symmetry in how season 1 goes through season 2, and it's not even like like you watch The Wire, season 1 to season 3, there's time, but it's not a lot of time. The way Atlanta, if you go to Atlanta, it's literally we in the trenches. We got a single that's starting to get played on radio to now we up. We're up to
throwing money up in the air. He had some money for the promoters, so he could throw it up in the air.
He literally got the bag and just threw it out just to get the shots for the paparazzi that was sitting outside waiting for him to come outside. Like, they're doing a lot of good work with this show, and I think I don't want to say that. I've not ranked. I've not even thought about what my personal ranking is, but I'm also the guy I'm a much bigger fan of season 2 than I am of season 1. Like I love Robert season
2 when it happened. That's the reason I haven't gone back. I was gonna try to have a full rewatch before the season happened, and I just didn't. But like season 2, again, the Fubu episode, which was probably one of the darkest episodes it's had.
Right. It's a very good episode. Very good episode.
Van and her friends want to get. I need this picture of Drake. That has some of its moments.
I don't like that.
So let's talk about
moments,
that
though.
Because that shorty from this episode was from the Drake party. You know what I'm saying? And she was the wild joint, and Van was trying to was supposed to be like the joint that got herself a little bit together. She the teacher, but she's trying to step out, and now shorty is over here, you know what I mean? She going to Europe to piss on a nigga, and
her crazy shit ain't got nothing on what Van got going on. Right?
What's funny is she's like, I'm doing all this, and she's like, what are you here to do? Pee on someone? And it's like, damn, I can't get right. Like,
I'm securing hands so these rich people can have a meal tonight. Lima.
She's with the Northman himself, Alexander Skarsgård.
Yo, so is that
something on him?
That was supposed to be somebody else, right?
Yeah. Fuck. Let me check and see. That was supposed to be somebody else.
Like
They said that happens a lot though, where they book somebody and then it's somebody else entirely. But keep going. There was somebody else that was supposed to be in that role, I believe.
yeah, but it was just so like you went and on like a weird. It was like a wild episode of Top Boy. The niggas was doing a hand.
She had the French accent the whole time. It was like, oh, I was trying to eat. Oh, Emilio. Like,
hey yo, the bread commentary by the two homegirls was
that was like, what's she carrying around this shit for? Like, and then when it finally comes out to like, oh, I see why. Like,
if I'm not mistaken, the one friend, the taller, skinnier one, that's Lakeith Stanfield's baby mom, which I didn't realize. I'm trying to think what I saw her in the Mindy Project when it was on Fox years ago.
I thought it was. I watched it on my phone and the screen was small. I thought it was Brandy at first.
But no, again, like this. So that was like the Van-centric episode because it had to wrap up her story. But the ones in the past haven't been bad. But when she and her friend are out, she gets high and has to like beat the drug test. And the kid's in white face, that has its moments. Which like, what do you mean you had white face on? Like,
that's a classic.
And then the episode, and that's one of the best closing scenes because like she's sitting in the class and he's just like in white face, but like,
oh, that's the little weird kid.
Yeah. But what else? So I mean, the reparations one, that one to me, that just felt like it dragged and dragged and dragged.
The story kind of went on a little too long.
Yeah, and then how it ended was like the role reversal, like all the white people now are the servants. Like if you keep that whole restaurant, like it's the dynamic has been flipped.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's funny is I've gone to establishments that look like that. Like it's yuppie, well-to-do black folks that's in there. You know what I mean? And everybody got on brunch boots and tight shirts and enjoying themselves or his parents. And so like if you go in Maryland, Howard County is one of the wealthiest like black areas like in the country. And I've gone to restaurants where it looked like that end of Atlanta, man.
I loved it.
It's a different feel, man. It's dope.
Sidebar, Ryan Gosling was one of the names that was in that for the Alexander Skarsgård. But I mean, you figure, you got to watch my mind. You got to be comfortable in your career to go on Atlanta. Know that your character is going to be accused of having all types of crack rock up in your hotel room, and because we saw him beaten off in the mirror, and I thought that was going to be it, and then he's out there ready for the fucking Lima. Lima. When Shorty said Lima, I died. Actually, when when whatever her name is, beat dude ass with that little thing of bread, that's like a fucking, when she pulled that shit out like a samurai.
Yeah.
Cracked. Oh god. And that's the sad part.
You know what happens when you leave it out for a day? What about 2 days? What about a week?
Fucking.
What about 3 months? Whatever.
This is the thing.
On and on.
Because all right, let me ask y'all a question. As y'all watching season 3, episode 10 of Atlanta, and because it starts with a conversation about getting paid to piss on people, and then it keeps like the tension keeps building. When y'all are watching an episode, like what are y'all thoughts, fam? What's your thoughts as you're going through an episode like that?
What? Like the whole episode, like you know what I mean? Like she. Yeah, no, what you here to do? I got pissed on this. What? Yeah, this bread. And then she's like, Vanessa? Van? And she was like, ooh. And she started talking
No, whatever her name was, Terrera or some shit like that.
Right,
and like, she's in a whole magazine as Vanessa. She becomes like someone's muse, like.
Facts.
So that's so much. So how much? So again, if Ern's back, did she stay? Because remember, she leaves him when he wakes up. She's gone. So it's like she probably stayed another.
Oh no, I think that there is a like they tease a little with Darius, especially in the episode with when they took drugs, about how like Paperboy is the bag.
Yeah.
They're plankton, you know. He's there, he's on tour, they're part of the crew that you just throw money in and that shit just disappears.
Thankfully they got rid of Socks. dude, your hair is. It's like, oh, I know, right? Like, it's like I can't go bald. Like,
So weird. That whole thing was just so wild and weird.
no, that's like you can't trust white people. That's what that whole thing
That's
was.
that's the whole.
Yeah.
That is the entire season, though.
And I'm saying this like you shouldn't trust. Math tells you all the time you shouldn't trust me.
Yo, them wild niggas that kicked the
Yeah.
baby.
As a matter of fact,
They was playing. They was playing keep away with the baby.
with the baby, he took the baby.
He was like, he's gonna punch his baby. He's gonna punch his baby like Dave Chappelle. Bah! Ow!
He took the baby and was throwing the baby.
Like, these is way worse than the niggas that was trying to steal Paperboy chain.
See,
They was gonna kill a baby.
see, this is the thing. I'm gonna say it like this. I love Atlanta season 1. Here for all of it. Loved it. Every episode on point. Up to the point where this is Patreon. To the point where shouts out to Niles who was the kid who played the transracial kid season 1. He was bubbling on YouTube.
Ellen DeGeneres.
I had to get the interview with him when I saw the episode. I remember walking around Walmart trying to make sure that homeboy got into Complex Con that year because he flew all the way out from wherever he lived to go to California, like just to pop the fuck off. But as season 2 got weird, like the first episode, the cold open ending with Shorty low key getting like part of her wig blown off and just be like.
They robbed the fast food right in the first season. Isn't that right?
But what I'm saying is, the edge of my seat, I was so in awe of because the shit didn't make no sense, but it was so fucking beautiful. And then, like, as the season went through and as it got weirder, yes. And what kills me, this is the part that kills me, because I know they were lucky that they did the 2-episode premiere and had an episode that actually had, because their plan from the beginning was to start with the 3 Slaps episode, and where you don't know what the fuck, because you don't see nobody to the end where he just wakes up and it's a fucking dream.
And it makes you think, it's his dream. Where did he share that earns? It's again, how is this all
the multiverse? That's Doctor Strange.
Yo, the whole writers' room was against that episode being the first episode. They're like, this is a terrible idea. And his brother was like, "Nah, we doing it."
Yeah, Stephen Glover said, this is it.
The bio on Hulu, like the episode bios, that's like commentaries on the backlash. It's like one of the ones says like the crew was at a party. Damn, the show was better in season 1. And I think that's the one about Nando's when like they meet Socks. He meets the guy who's like, "Oh, I want you to meet this artist," and my man with the rollerblades gets from one spot to the next, and they don't hear like click clack of his rollerblades. He's just here.
That was baby Travis Scott.
And then it cuts back to the guy's legs are just rolling around. I'm like, oh, that's brilliant, because it
was Travis Scott.
Can I just speak one moment to interrupt? And,
hey,
then what's been more safe?
Want to hear me raps?
Fire.
I've done a painting. You want to hear me raps?
Hey, yo, why is Nando's so like? Why do people always talk about Nando's? Do they not have Nando's all over the place?
They have Nando's. Could y'all have Nando's in Baltimore?
I can see Nando's from my backyard. Like,
well, because the thing, like Nando,
that's the cover art.
All right. This is an amazing sidebar that could only happen like right now on Patreon. So I only knew about Nando's because all the British cats that I knew fuck with drum and bass over the years. Like Nando's is just a spot, like just like Tesco Value and some of these other random UK things. Like Nando's was just a chicken spot, and it was. But I think because there is like a fairly large West Indian and Caribbean population over there, then the different sauces on the Nando's chicken is, I imagine those communities will, assuming again, I don't want to speak 100%, but from what I've understood, if I don't know if it's KFC, but if you're trying to get chicken in London, in the UK, Nando's is where people are probably going to point you to first.
So it's like that Peruvian chicken that's like it's grilled, like they grill a whole chicken over coals or over rotisserie, like on a spit. My wife likes it.
It's just them sauces. When I went to the UK, I had to go because I found where it was. I was like, oh, it's right there. I went. It was cool. I wasn't blown away, but
Phoenix.
I'm. Yes, when I went to do I went to a Fox screening of Dark Phoenix, and then I did the junket. It's somewhere up on complex.com. It was I got to talk to the whole fucking cast, but I spent an afternoon at the Nando's. I'm not the biggest fan of like hot sauces, so I couldn't really experience Nando's like I imagine other people do. But yeah, that's the spot for chicken. Drake went over to Nando's when he went over there, if I'm not mistaken.
I remember on like BTE in like 2017, when they were making they had a UK tour, I think Ring of Honor did, and they the redacted villain talked about Nando's and Hangman Page, like, yeah, we had Nando's, it was shit or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not saying Nando's is bad, but I mean, like, I don't. It's not my spot. I'll go to Popeyes or some shit. I just like good fried chicken. I don't need the
one
right.
episode we haven't talked about yet is we briefly mentioned socks, but is the Joker episode, basically when the kid has Paperboy's cell phone.
I think
he basically knows his life story.
I feel like
remember he didn't have it.
I know he didn't have it, but like the whole thing, it's like he knows all this information about him without having the phone is interesting. He's like like a drop top Chevy, and like a kiss from a rose. It's like,
no, he knew bars.
Rose.
Right.
That was my dream car. And Darius like, yeah, she fucked everyone. Like,
that shit was weird.
He sings in that song, and it just like, yeah, that's when I'm like, this show is, it's what the fuck.
Well, I will say, for as much flack as like the reparations episode is some of like the other like the non-storyline episodes were, my least favorites were episodes like this one where it was a whole Paperboy having to learn having to go
navigate
through the art of being the spokesman for a company trying to clean up some shit that was offensive. Like
I did like the guy who was kind of Ricky Starks-ish when he was like, I don't know if this guy's black. Like
that
don't sound right when you say it.
Him interacting with the regular like black woke activists were funny. I think the episode as a whole, by like the end of the second act, I was already like fucking like I would just rather see what's happening next week. Did
you get mad when it was, because I think you and I had said kind of seems like sometimes that they try to make this show to shut up like white people? Like, are there moments for it to like do like these moments of like speaking up again, like the Joel off and like again the appropriation or gentrification of everything against Socks, where he kind of integrates into the crew and he just is in the cab after they made the escape. Like,
right.
Do you get bothered by that when that seems like Don Glover is doing this, I think, purposely, so like the critics have nothing to say?
Well, the thing with that side is, like, again, from referencing the Stephen Glover interview with GQ, he said they don't write the show thinking about white people at all. They're making a black show for black people, and I believe that in the show that I watch, it is written for black people. I think the problem is well, I don't. Problem's not a fair word, but I think the issue is the show is so well done. We talk, math or fan mentioned artsy. I think the idea of the quality of the show is so big that it's hard to. It's a show that's written for black people, but it's quality wise, it's not a show that black people are always given. So it's always
it's also Donald Glover.
It's correct. He's very much a darling in the mainstream. So it's automatically you're going to have. So it even if you're writing the show for people like myself, people like Brother Fam, and other black people taking the show, it's on FX.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it's not a BET or BET Plus or anything like that. It couldn't be. They could never make this show for those networks. But
Dear Lord, never do that, please.
Isn't it really the only black show on
Hey,
it?
yo,
Kind
I
of has
feel
been,
like-
right?
Yeah.
I have no idea, to be honest. I feel like it would be it wouldn't be a reach for Medea or Tyler Perry to show up in one of these episodes.
But again, that's the key. That's when we
But
were,
I also think that writers' room hates Medea like I do. So
but
I don't think it'll
remember,
ever happen.
when Monique was having, because Monique just cleaned up that shit with what's her name, when Donald Glover was doing, we had those Adidas, Monique was the one where he did like 5 or 6 of them little commercials with. You know what I'm saying? Like Kevin Samuels wasn't loved in the black community.
I was gonna say, I think that was casting Kevin Samuels for that role is something white people probably wouldn't get. I mean,
At all.
But
someone like me would who sees Twitter and knows that, but I think the majority would be like, "What's like, who's this guy?" Like they wouldn't understand the significance.
None of
of
that.
casting.
But they probably recognize George Wallace because George Wallace is legendary.
But think for a second. Just pull it back for a bit. Kevin Samuels, Liam Neeson,
Yep.
Chet Hanks. Like, there's a lot of people that they've had on the show that have had specific issues and it's not to say that they were out here trying to like stump for them. I think in the whole, if you go back through the anthology episodes and pick how many times you saw black entertainment just being like a regular, whether it's songs or it's on the TV, like there's a lot of things that they're saying without saying. And you can't, I don't want to say you, because there are some things you can take at face value, but I think on the whole, I feel like this season is really making, it's almost like holding a mirror up to what the fuck is going on, which is funny because they wrote a lot of shit before shit was even happening. Again,
And that's what they were saying, yeah.
They had Kevin Samuels a preview the day he died. Like I think
crazy.
The way it's not predicting the future. It's just kind of like understanding how the world works and being able to. It's The Simpsons. It's a lot of that stuff like that.
Yeah, so I say again,
You have to give that writers room credit for being able to pull a lot of this shit off, because a lot of shows. It's funny to say, yeah, we'll do the gag will be that the Trini babysitter is so good that she's turning the kid Trini, but to have the
pictures, they're like, we missed picture day.
To have facts, but to have the foresight to be like, yo, we're gonna have a character who is like 20 years outside of that, and have it be Chet Hanks, who's had all of these issues with, patois and the N-word and that type of, like, it's genius on a different level, and that's why even when fam says, that's top 3 and it's not 1 or 2, I can't get mad because there's shit that I love in it, and I'm not even saying it's outside of 1 or it's going to be 1 or 2, but right now I really love the shit that I love about season 3. But I do admit that it is some weirdo shit.
Oh yeah, and I think that's it. Like, I think the important thing about what Donald Glover is doing with this show is that he is giving us, like you were saying, stuff that couldn't have been on BET, and I think that's important to show these networks, is that we can be Twin Peaks, we can be the abstract show. We don't have to be, blast every 37 seconds. We can tell stories. We can tell non sequitur stories where they just sit by themselves. We can also tell deeper stories than someone went to the store and came back with the wrong thing and it's a funny gag. Now we'll tell deep stories. We'll tell stories over 3 seasons at this point. And I think them proving that, with these seasons, man, is really, really important. It's like the new day in wrestling.
Facts.
I was saying, you see what kind of shows have started either simultaneously or right after Insecure on HBO, Dear White People on Netflix, kind of this renaissance where these hit shows written starring primarily black people, and each network or streaming service kind of has one to be like, this is our Atlanta. But then I never watched, and I won't watch Dave, which is what FX probably thought it was getting with Atlanta, like a show within the rap world. When Don goes like, I want to make this creatively artsy show. Again, we have the Migos, but as the Migos, but like, what if these dudes actually were the Migos? Like they were the trappers. Like
the
they
Amigo.
shoot a man down.
What if they were who they say they were?
Right, but again, they called Atlanta. Atlanta was the Trojan horse. I think that when we talk about Atlanta,
everyone's like, well, how can they be in Atlanta? I mean, how can it be called Atlanta if they're in Europe? It's like
right,
it's a vibe. It's
I
hate to admit.
It's one of the funniest thing that I got from that Stephen Glover interview was that the Van episode wasn't supposed to be the last episode. Originally, it may have been episode 9, but I think he said it was Hero. Hero was the one that said that, because I think at the end of her speech she says, "Let's go back to Atlanta" or something like that. I don't know if that I guess that makes sense. I don't know if that means that season 4 is going to be totally in Atlanta. I don't know what the fuck it means, but it felt like they were saying more like vibe wise, we're going to get back to, because we're getting the last season of the show. September, October, it sounds like right now. So it's going to.
I mean, I don't want the show going on too long. Or have 20 episodes a season or something like that. Like
PSA, if you're creating dope television and you're in like season 2 and you know that shit is hard, plan to be done by like season 4. Not saying it's going to happen, but have that story like you. Because you cannot have that shit open ended and just be like whatever. I don't know any stories that have been ill like season 12. Like any one of these shows, somebody tell you Game of Thrones, is somebody out there's gonna be like, yo, season 5, I started to see that shit kind of turn. Or season 6, blase, blase, blah. It is what it is. Go out with a bang and shit. The whole damn cast of Atlanta. Hold up. Where's that picture of this amazing cast? I got
these are people again. Brian Terry Henry was in the Eternals. Lakeith Stanfield was in Judas and the Black Messiah.
In Demand, like
doing
come
all
on.
Of these things the last couple of years, and
it's part of the reason that aside from the 2 years of the quarantine, that part of the reason why it took so long was because Donald Glover was doing so much in Hollywood. But like this foursome right here. This is Black Hollywood for a lot of people. Brian Tyree Henry's in everything. He was in the Joker. Him and Zazie were in the Joker. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody. I just saw something that says like, what's Darius's real name?
Lakeith Stanfield.
Lakeith Stanfield. What should he be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Because everybody else is already in it. You know what I mean?
He wants to be the Joker. He wants to be in DC and be the Joker.
I'll watch that. You know what I'm saying? But
he's a good actor. But who could he be in the Marvel universe?
I don't know. I don't know Marvel comics well enough.
I mean, he has that. He can do that like serious tone and like be like the Silver Surfer, where he could just be like my Earth and like
Keith Stanfield as a Silver Surfer would be crazy.
But then it's like he's just doing mocap and voiceover work. Where it's like, but you actually want to like see him be someone.
If Lakeith Stanfield's going to be the Silver Surfer, I'm assuming, and that nigga's going to be in. He's going to shave his fucking head. He going to get the whole fucking silver body. He may buff up.
Oh, he's going to be like Rey Mysterio.
That nigga, he's going to be sitting on. He's going to be sitting on a rock talking about, "I'm the only person out here in the universe."
Well, that's Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah,
I did that. I was shocked when Abdul Mateen did that.
My thing would be dope is seeing him. And something facing Jonathan Majors as Kang, right? That would be. I can see that being insane.
Well, I think the Kang and the Silver Surfer are in the Fantastic Four universe in a way, yeah. So
right,
Stanfield as a Silver Surfer is crazy. All I do is sit on this board and wait for Galactus to tell me where to go. He's out there writing raps.
So Brian Terry Henry in Eternals. Zazie Beetz was in the Deadpool franchise as Domino, but who knows if they'll bring her back. And Donald Glover was Lando, but he's not been in the MCU.
He was also in the Spider-Man movie.
He's Prowler.
Yeah, he was Prowler.
I always forget Prowler. Yeah. But are they going to actually? Yeah, you know what?
I don't know. It feels like they
This is
abandoned
why
that.
they just gotta take it away from Sony, because they just have this opportunity right now to do Miles Morales, and they're not gonna.
See, the problem is, I was so ready for him to be the Prowler, and now it just feels like he was a black stunt cast because he was popular when the
Oh,
film
it definitely
coming
was
out.
that. Yeah, no, you could tell. It was that, and it was the wink, wink. Just like, I mean, we're talking spoilers, so like 3, 2, 1. They cast John Krasinski just to make people happy on Twitter right after seeing.
I laughed.
Like,
There
when
were
it happened, I was like, "Wow, they actually did it!" Like,
I was in the day before I went to see the press screening. I guess the news had leaked online, so I had read it. My wife sent it to me. I knew the whole thing, and I'm sitting in that theater full of journalists. Half of them motherfuckers was not ready to see fucking Jean-Luc Picard, let alone fucking John Krasinski come through. They did not realize that these people were going to be in this movie. And then John Krasinski's got a whole role, and I'm like, oh, this motherfucker about to die.
A whole role.
He's about to die though.
They gave themselves a way out. You know what I mean? It was a different. It was a different Earth.
Oh,
It's
that's
a
what I say. They only did that to be like, he's not. When we make this Fantastic Four movie, he's not going to be our actual Reed Richards. You know that. Like,
hey, yo, they should have a Marvel Earth 227 where all the people are black.
No, I would actually want to see that.
227.
Earth 227 would be amazing.
Earth 227, and they got it right because that's how they write it in the comic books. Earth dash 227.
227 is Pearl and Calvin and Brenda and Lester. You know what I'm saying?
They're going to be in the same block, and like they're going to live next door to T'Challa and Storm. They're going to be arguing about
would the Black Panther be white then, or are we doing
no? It's going to be it's
no. It will be Blacker Panther.
Facts. Blackest Panther.
No,
that was the thing, right? When the other guy showed up with the flamethrower, he's like, "My parents are from Nigeria, right?" And he was like, "I can see what he's saying." He's like, "The fuck you mean you can see what he's saying? You're white." Like,
again,
funny part is I could see what he was saying.
The funniest part is
no, don't say it.
No, I have to say it.
Yeah.
The funniest part about the rich wigger, poor wigger episode was when the Nigerian kid could not get a scholarship until he got shot by the cop. If that's not the best critique on what it means to be black in America, I don't know what it is.
That's the blackest thing you ever seen. Yeah, y'all sit here too.
You got your hospital bills are taken care of. Here with your scholarship.
He's like, don't you remember? He's like, I said white Grady. Like,
jeez, did we miss anything? Was there anything?
Yes, yes, because we really didn't get into.
We didn't get into the meat and potatoes at all.
To the most intriguing episode to me, which was the drug episode, right? Because me and Cal had a bunch of discussion. Whether the trans lady was supposed to be trans in the show. Then it was just so much that like that episode was the Liam Neeson cameo.
The Liam Neeson cameo.
I am so glad I did nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like you were talking about the Illuminati and Doctor Strange, where a lot of that got spoiled online. Thank God, not for me. Only thing I really knew about was Professor X. But anyway, I didn't know about Liam Neeson. You know what I'm saying? And the rest of the world apparently did. But the stuff that it was so much in that episode that they did, and so much story that they told about Paperboy, and we've talked about his trade. Alfred wasn't going for none of that stuff they was doing in there. Paperboy might. It was a little 2 eyes wide shut for Alfred. But Paperboy is a little more accepted to it, man, and it's funny. Watching, so a lot of this, right, is showing growth and not through like stereotypical trauma, right? But you do still see some of folks' trauma, like the niggas robbing him for that chain caused so much anxiety in him from the baby throwers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like you see the progression of it. And it's cool when you take an episode like that and you do so much and it still end up being the main character's arc is what's important, other than the wild stuff they did in that episode.
Right.
It's also it teaches that episode also teaches you one of life's greatest lessons, which is when you eat the edible, never say I don't feel anything. Never say I don't feel anything.
That's the last thing you say. That's famous last word.
Right, the dead rat, right? He's like, he sees the dead rat, like that's.
It's like the people be like, yeah, I hit the blunt, I feel nothing. Then they start coughing. Oh yeah, you good now? Yeah, you good now? Your whole mind blew up. Yeah, you good?
Yeah. Well, I can hear blue.
But no, Cal, like you said, like these episodes, because that's again a sister episode to the Woods episode. It's him on the run from some kids, and then the mom reveal at the end.
Which is the mom reveal at the beginning on the other one.
With him sleeping and she's there, and then when he's like, shit, what was her name? Lorraine. He's like, where's Lorraine at? And then Ern's like, your mother? Like he's like, why would you ask that? Like,
all right,
and that broke me given my circumstance. But like, it was a good callback to again, like that's how one episode started, and that's how this one ended. And both were kind of like him dealing with fame, and he wants to be famous, but does he want to be famous like that? Like, because at the end of the day, he's just Alfred. Like, so there's Paperboy, and there's Alfred.
Right. Let me ask you this question, because I found it really, really interesting, and I thought it was massively played. Paperboy asks Ern, "Do I own my masters?" And there's a weird, like, it's a very subtle, like, I'm going to lie. Like, I know how to answer the question. Like, I know how to answer this question, even if it's not the truth, right? So he says, yo, who owns my masters? And it's so subtle, but he pauses just slightly, like he's going to lie, and says, oh, you do. So now we got to answer that question. I need to answer that question for real. I need to prove. I need to pay.
It almost made it seem like
I need the paper, boy.
And by Ern owning it, he owns it, because like I think like can he ever really trust Ern? But Ern's also like,
but again,
at the end of the day, this guy needs me just as much as I need him.
But
now,
but again, like we said earlier, like, you know, it's not like they're year 1 or even year 3. Like they've been doing this for a minute. Like
the Fubu episode, like everything happens and he's the one that saves him. Like, nah, his is fake, his is real. They find out the news about the kid and they go to watch Dragon Ball together. Like,
but I would hope that at this point, Ern has got. He wouldn't be like him lying to. Like, why would he need to lie to Alfred at this point about having that shit?
But then I'm like, why did they put that pause there? The pause is.
There is a pause there. There is a pause there. You pointed that out to me.
It's
you
so
see
like,
too in the fashion one. He's like, he's trying to tell him, and then he's like, you always tell me like,
and Ern is shady.
They killed Martin Luther King and Malcolm X because they were trying to do this shit, and then Paperboy sees it himself. Like, he takes Ern's advice, and they burn him on it.
Yeah,
like, he tries to do it like, we should do this, and that. They're like, that's a great idea, and then they take it, turn it their way, and then like he's been through the machine. He's been chewed up and spit back out, and then he's like, so what Ern tries to do isn't the way. Then
you remember
when he just look after his and his own.
You remember when he was apologizing for that company, and he was like, you sure you should do this? He was like, yeah, now with your spook sat by the door, I know what you would do. And he was like, but what do they do to the guy who stands up for himself? They kill him. They say it in unison.
They kill him. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's fun. It's funny to think that for a show that is already so deep and layered, that we can pick up the layers of like social commentary and put that to the side and be like, all right, and I guess that speaks to why people may not have been as into season 3, is because even with like the scant sketches of relationship between these two that we've gotten, people are very drawn to just that. Fuck everybody else. Ern and Alfred as business partners. Like, there's a real story to have been told there. He
tells him to help out the guy who's scamming the white guy. He's like, we got to look after our own. And Ern's the whole time hesitant because he's like, I don't know if I should do this. So then he actually ends up doing it at the end because he's like, if this guy's not smart enough to realize it, it's on him. It's not on me.
Fuck it. Damn. What? Do y'all have any favorite episodes from this season?
This season, it's gotta be the I guess that's the name of the episode now, is the Kevin Samuels episode.
I was just say I think it is in terms of the anthology, and probably one of the main cast would be the one at the Nando's party, because I think that has that good banter of them walking towards the party. It's like it's kind of the only time all four of them are together. Like it's like, oh, this is what the show should be, just them busting each other's balls and like joking around and like them going to places and then having crazy shit happen and leaving. And the whole interaction with the Asian chick, and like that was very like unwarranted, but like he's like, you love rap music, we love anime, which was a funny, truthful line. Like,
no, think about how many situations has probably started just because one white person was trying to be a savior. And then that's
that guy's girlfriend. I mean, fiance. He's like, I just ended it.
Nah, that shit was nuts. He got himself. He really worked himself into that shit though.
I mean, she just pushes people into the pool. I mean, that was probably my favorite of the main cast.
I don't think a scene from this season has made me laugh harder than when the two white women were trying to figure out how to fry the chicken in the microwave.
Oh my god.
Yo, I was so triggered by almost everything in that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Like, and niggas that know me know I cook. So when they in there, no.
The one thing that triggered me the most was because I knew what was gonna happen when the cops like, you know what he looks like, and I'm like, don't say it, don't say. He's like, Hollow Black, and I'm like,
that whole scene. When I realized what was going on in that scene, that first episode may be my favorite episode of the season.
Well, I just saw the next day because like I would just see on Twitter. Luckily I was too busy at work to not see spoilers for Doctor Strange, but I would see spoilers for Atlanta. And I would see free hugs. Is hugs your father? And I'm like, hugs your father.
It's hugs your father.
That in the context of the episode, like, oh, that's pretty good. It was one of those things like it wasn't completely spoiled until you saw it in the proper context.
The motherfucker, he had a sign that said free hugs,
and the guy just had the audacity.
Is hugs your father? The four kids
like to kill everybody.
What an episode! That episode is really fucking good. That's a really good episode.
What do you guys think?
Sing a song. He's like, he starts rapping Gucci Mane. He's like, no.
Yeah.
What do you guys think we're gonna get in season 4? Do you have any expectations?
I want to know what's going on with Lottie. I need to know what's going on with Lottie.
What if this was like Interstellar and she was like 23 years old now?
They do a time jump and it's just 25 years.
They did an age was the thing.
I think it would be an ill thing if they did like a significant jump where we notice it and no one else, like they don't acknowledge it or anything.
It's just like 7 years.
An actual invisible car, yeah.
Yeah, I would enjoy that. I need to see Bibby again. You know what I mean? I need to see Bibby again. That
the Bibby interaction, and see, and fuck y'all who don't like the barbershop and don't get the barbershop. I understand y'all, some of y'all not black, but the Bibby interaction where he takes them to the chick's house and the little kid is sitting there and he's like, because Paperboy walked in with the fucking shit on. He's like, "Are you a magician?" Yeah. He asked me if he's a magician when he walks in. They go through all this shit. The lights cut off. Is that your trick? It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
So
are you kidding me?
They gotta bring back what was your man's name, Cal? Who was with them for season 2 only?
Tracy. Tracy was hilarious.
Yeah,
Tracy.
I didn't like Tracy.
I didn't like Tracy because I know Tracy.
Like, you don't like Tracy in real life.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Tracy's
Tracy.
a nigga who do so much. Like he's just such a wild nigga, but everything still works out for him for some reason. It just works out the way he sees.
Are you related
Murder,
to Tracy?
everything.
Kids?
It's the classic overthinker versus underthinker, right? And the underthinker always wins there. And
Yeah.
I am a classic overthinker, and I see it. I've never lost a fight. You know what I mean? Especially not no goddamn Tracy. I'd have probably had to stab that nigga. I wasn't fighting, buddy. And I don't know why he thought he was gonna beat him up. Your bullet saw over, so
Don't forget, he thinks he comes up with like, listen, he's run how many races and he's like, he thinks he can outrun Mike Vick, and that's why his van's like, it's Mike Vick.
But
he's like, he's had how many races at 12 o'clock at night or whatever it was, like.
Tracy on Atlanta is also why I remember the no chase policy out of stores where you can just it's mine. Y'all not gonna chase me. Walk right the fuck out.
Before, because I guess we're wrapping up. Yeah, what's the best episode overall? Because I think people would probably say Teddy Perkins, or at least that was the most.
I love Teddy Perkins, but Bibby.
The best episode of
Bibby is easily my favorite episode.
Barbershop is up there. Teddy Perkins is up there.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. Hold up.
And when that nigga was cracking that oyster, that ostrich egg.
Yeah,
that was so disgusting.
I still think it was BAT, the television show when he's on
BAN. What a good episode.
Because again, it has the fake commercials, it has the felon DeGeneres, it has the woman and him going back and forth, and she's like, "I'm actually on your side," and the host gets mad, and he's like, "Well, what do you think about this?" And then people are like he's trying to get like, "I got you," and he's like,
"Felon DeGeneres is I may need to go Alligator Man."
Oh, jeez, that amazing. Yeah, shout out to Cat Williams. You know what I mean? I heard his new special isn't great. But
yeah, we had it on the other day, and I don't think we made it through like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I heard.
I still think.
And that's just off his fit. His fit alone is what he doing.
Hey, nigga, you shouldn't have been talking. You shouldn't have been talking. Look, he was talking crazy. Said, "I am the best comedian in the world." Nigga saying you're better than Dave Chappelle. All right, nigga. Damn.
Crazy. Is that
it? 40 time. He had smoked Dave Chappelle in a race. Good God.
I'm gonna say that may be it for Atlanta season 3. If you shouts out to anybody on the Patreon, again, patreon.com/Black Wrestling. Pay the 1, pay the 10. You'll get.
They're already paying it, ain't they? If they got this.
Yeah, hopefully you're seeing this when you're supposed to see it and you paid the 1 or paid the 10. If you're watching this on YouTube in fucking September or October of 2022 or past that, hopefully you recognize and went back to pay, because you can only get shit like this when you're supposed to get it if you pay on the Patreon. Do y'all, fam, where can people find you on the social medias?
At IlFam790 on social media, choice. At Where's Buffy on your social media of choice. And also at Something Else Pod. That's something with no G. Else Pod. On all social media, man. See y'all niggas soon.
There's something else going on over there. Drip, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Davis, aka Drip. Instagram, Davis Colton DC. Here on the Patreon with White Noise, which is my solo show, but we also have Black Watch with Fam in downtown Tony Brown, where they are rewatching every WrestleMania match that features a black wrestler. Facts. There's Coffee and Kicks with Matt and Mimi. There's Black Wrestling Podcast Club, which is Cal's White Noise.
Black Noise.
Black Noise.
And then again, we'll be having more Have Y'all Scenes, so we can keep reviewing movies and shows and others. But keep paying the 1, pay the 10. Recommend all that.
Facts.
It's only $1.
It really is only $1. They just take the shit once a month. Like Patreon is actually really smooth with it. If there's a couple of dope things,
$1 million.
Don't go too crazy. Subscribe to us and some of our compatriots. Back.
They said they take that one like, thank you. I
Well,
appreciate
you're gonna give me that. Thank you very much. There. At Cal on Twitter, at Black Wrestling Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. BlackWrestling.com is the website, but as always, you can find the Black Wrestling Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google. Wherever you get your podcasts, we're there. YouTube.com/Black Wrestling every Thursday night, 8:35 Eastern Time, PM time. We there. BRP 50 coming soon.
Shout out Mimi, shout out man.
Fact. Shouts me, shouts out Mav.
Yeah, 50. I'm dreading that right now.
Yeah,
As we're recording this, so I'm just like academics with the mic, like
I gotta go through mine as well. That's probably why we should get the fuck out of here. But yeah, we'll catch y'all next time. Peace.